day. Welcome to Music Motors and welcome to the Suzuki Swace. Now, the Swace, much like the 2021 Suzuki Cross, is based on a business merger venture with Suzuki and Toyota. What does that mean? That effectively the Suzuki Swace is based on a Toyota Corolla Wagon. But unlike the Wagon, which comes in a variety of engine types and different body styles, this comes in one body style, the Wagon, with one engine, the 1.8 litre petrol, and two trims, SZT and SZ5. Prices start at around £27,000. This one's finished in like a Mica blue, quite a strange name really, but cool, different. So in this episode of Music Motors, I find out what this is all about, what the crack is. It's a hybrid, and this is a stepping stone to the EV world. So how does it get on? So find out in this episode of Music Motors as we put the Suzuki Swace to the test. Outside, you won't be surprised to know that the Swace and the Corolla were pretty much separated at birth. These are made on the exact same production line as the Corolla. So as a result, front bumper, very, very close. Side profile, very, very close. Rear profile, well, you get where I'm going with this, right? Aesthetically, it's quite close, quite similar, but that's no bad thing. The Corolla is actually quite a good looking car. Take away that Toyota badge, slight refinements on the front bumper. Suzuki have kind of just gone, okay, it's a good design, we're going to stick with it. And to their credit, it is. The front end's quite sleek, it's quite nicely styled and very aerodynamic looking, quite striking. Though, I will say this, I've adjusted to it. When it turned up, I had the mindset that it had a face only a mother could love. And whilst it has grown on me, it's still a bit of a Marmite front end. Side profile, very sleek, lovely running lines, nice sporty lines to be honest, because effectively that's what it's based on. It's a sport Toro. It is a sport Toro, but it looks quite good. Now, 16-inch non-diamond cut polished alloy wheels. What does this mean? It means they're comfortable. Ride-wise, which I'll get to in a bit, extraordinarily comfortable. But equally, it means that they still look quite good. 16s are a reasonable wheel size. And they've got a cool design, but they're going to eat up the road and not get damaged by potholes and curbs alike. Back end is my favourite part of this car. It's really lovely and quite, I just don't know how to put it. It just looks good. Whilst it's not a exciting car to look at the back, or in fact on any level, this is just a normal car to look at, but it's quite nice and quite smooth in the back end. I like how everything kind of comes together in the back. I like the light clusters. I like quite a lot of it, but it's not because it's an all singing and shouting design. It's because it's just a good, simple design. Aesthetically, the outside of this car looks good and simple and everyday, and doesn't completely get lost in the mix of car design, but isn't super shouty. It's kind of a really nice balance. So as a result, the exterior aesthetic for me, I quite like it. Inside, as you get in, again, the same thing as with the exterior. Not really that much difference from the Toyota Corolla, but there's a Suzuki badge in front of you. Biggest thing is though that you get in and immediately seats are very, very comfortable. Like very comfortable. You feel like you're in a snug, warm armchair, and as standard these are heated, and you also get heated steering wheel. At least your front seats are heated. Good visibility, extra window at the front. I dread to think how much that costs to replace if a thief decides to smash it to try and get in for whatever reason. The TFT display in front of the driver is relatively good, of a reasonable quality, and gives enough information. The infotainment itself is a little lackluster in design, but in Suzuki terms is quite a step forward, though the reach for the home button, as per in the Cross, is a little bit of a stretch. Climate control, very, very good. You do get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. What you don't get is wireless charging in this, but really that's about it from an internal point of view. Let's be honest, the sound system, if you listen to normal radio, is okay. does a good enough job. You end up doing a little bit of tweaking to make it sound very, very good, but generally it's okay. But plug your phone in and the sound system comes alive, and suddenly you have this awesome, loud and punchy and very, very accurate sounding audio system, which you just don't expect, bearing in mind it's £27,000 on the road. It's bonkers. Headroom, loads. Your passengers are very comfortable, even rear legroom is actually pretty decent. This seat set up for me in the rear legroom is more than acceptable. Isofix, obviously, for all the family essentials come to the boot, and again, it's a very reasonable size. But what I would say is it's not very wide. It passed my base test, but only just. My base was edging on the edge of being slightly too long for it to go in. So where other rivals like the Skoda Octavia absolutely passed with flying colours, well, this was only just made it. But to be fair, the boot is a reasonable size, good load height. From an interior point of view, it just feels quite well put together. Yeah, there's loads of plastics with a bit of a leather-ish look design going on here, but it does feel well put together and it feels incredibly safe. This is a 5-star in-cab rating car, and from an internal point of view, you can feel that every time you sit in the driver's seat. Performance and economy, because realistically, okay, this is a 1.8 litre petrol engine with a hybrid powertrain combined, creating 122 brake horsepower and roughly just over 150 newton meters of torque combined between the petrol engine and the electric motors. It's 11.1 to 62. It's nothing really to write home about, but it's just enough of everything to do a pretty decent job. Now, this is an auto, a CVT auto, so that does mean when you're pushing this slightly harder on back roads, it does kind of end up whining just a little bit. As I go into a corner, this is the first thing I'll say. You don't feel the weight of this car. This is a heavy car, to be fair. It has batteries going on, it has an electric motor going on, but yet when you go around corners, you don't really feel the weight of it. It's very, very smooth. The steering input doesn't give you loads of feedback, gives you a little bit, but is very comfortable and very, very smooth. Throttle response is pretty instantaneous. Put it into sport mode, and then obviously you kind of hypercharge your electric side of the car, and then your acceleration is considerably more. Brake has a nice feel, doesn't feel that disconnected hybrid kind of brake feel, you just don't get it. And obviously you have a B mode if you want to regen a little bit going down longer hills. There's a lot of toing and throwing in my comment section about when you should use B mode and stuff. Manufacturers have told me you can pretty much just drive in B mode 24/7, but the commenters say no, absolutely don't do that, you'll wreck your gearbox. I don't know. So I'm driving in normal D mode now, and if I was driving in normal D mode and sport, I'd be getting a pretty decent acceleration. Back roads can be fun, but not obviously engaging, but you can have a bit of fun in this car. It doesn't ever feel out of control, too heavy, it doesn't feel understeery, it's pretty planted, and as the drive goes, very, very comfortable. And I mean very, very comfortable, like 7 Series comfortable. This rides the road incredibly well and is very, very soft over like undulating terrains. It just does such an incredible job considering how cheap this car is. It's just bonkers. Economy, so Toyota claim you're realistically going to be seeing somewhere in the region of about 60 to the gallon combined, and whilst some people have been reporting 50s, no matter how hard I tried, right there, 59.4 miles per gallon combined, and that's over 200 miles, mainly made up of back roads and town, not a lot of motorway. So it's pretty impressive. Get it on the motorway and you're seeing as close to 80 miles to the gallon as you can count. It's pretty mad. The change in between hybrid, EV mode and internal combustion engine mode is pretty seamless. You don't really notice it changing other than when you're driving on a limiter. On the motorway, it's about the only time you'll actually feel them change. Otherwise, technologically wise, it's very, very seamless, and the engine isn't noisy anyway. The CVT gearbox isn't too noisy, so even when you are going up longer hills and you are having to push it slightly more, it is very, very quiet from an internal point of view. So the outside looks decent. It's definitely a bit of a Marmite design, but it's something which will grow on you without question. I feel like it looks slightly better in Toyota guise than Suzuki guise, but otherwise it's a very, very good job, aesthetically anyway. The interior, look, it's nothing too fancy, but it gives you everything that you could possibly need, with a lot of comfort, tons of safety, bundles of technology. It just feels like a really, really, really well thought out interior. And then performance, because to be fair, it's not completely slow, but equally isn't going to be breaking any world speed records. This gives you the best of both worlds, and that you can have a little bit of fun, not too much fun, but some fun. But you can also return the most incredible economy figures, and genuinely just without sacrificing too much of a drive. This doesn't feel completely disconnected, and whilst it's not going to completely change your life in its drive, it just gives you the best all round of everything as you could possibly want. So I'm cruising into Chichester now. It pops back into EV mode, and in no time at all this is going to be back to 60 miles per gallon. It's just beyond me, a car this big that can give you some performance, not loads, don't get me wrong, it's not a fast car, but enough for the everyday, can turn around this sort of economy in a city situation. It's just absolutely bonkers. And it's proof to say that Suzuki and Toyota have done well in merging, because the Across, very, very good. Suzuki Swace, very, very good.